Evening, folks. Welcome back to The View for this week's podcast to look back at what has been a nuts couple of days, I suppose, at Leeds United or around Leeds anyway. The parade yesterday, the championship celebrations on whatever day. It was Saturday afternoon, and then the chaos of the last 2 weeks as well. But I'm delighted to be joined by Andrew Stats Dalton as ever, and Paul Brooker, who was in the middle of the chaos yesterday. So we'll get his take on things as well. We'll have a quick chat as well in the chat, but we're going to go through a few bits and pieces today. We're going to talk about the game briefly at the weekend for whatever footnote that ends up being in this conversation. And then we're going to talk about yesterday, the aftermath, a couple of comments made by Parag Marate around Daniel Farke and Leeds in general, the celebrations in Leeds. And then there's a little bit on the Ellen Road redevelopment that's come out tonight as well. And then we're going to look at the different varying teams of the year. Assuming we have time, we'll try and keep this to within 35, 40 minutes if we can. But welcome on board to everybody. If you could stick a like on the video, that would be great as well. Just gets it out to more people and helps us to grow. But we'll start off by saying hello to the guys. And Stats, how are you, mate? Leeds United, a Premier League side, mate.
It's been a bit bonkers. Had my birthday on Friday. Went down to Harry Potter Land thanks to Emma, which is absolutely fantastic.
Stats, can you just pull your mic up a tiny bit to your mouth? Just a little closer.
Just pull that up there. Yeah, went down to Hertfordshire for Harry Potter, got back, watched the Plymouth game on TV, and typical Leeds United leave things to the last minute, and then watched all the parade stuff yesterday, which is absolutely phenomenal. And it's been a bit of a bonkers, strange couple of weeks, really, because of the way the promotion was won against Stoke City on the Easter Monday, the Sheffield United's failure to beat Burnley. Everyone celebrated outside Ellen Road. They then go and beat Bristol City handsomely 4-0. Yeah, thanks, Joe. And then Saturday was just bonkers, wasn't it? I don't think we actually played well at Plymouth, in all honesty. Second half, maybe so.
Yeah.
Mr. Manor comes up and he's been absolutely brilliant second half of the season and in front of the lead. And then I tweeted at half time, they're only waiting to score the goals that they're waiting to win the title, and lo and behold, they go and do that. So, and then they had the Player of the Year do on Sunday, and the parade, which is absolutely phenomenal yesterday. So, it's been a phenomenal 2-3 weeks, and now we'll enjoy it. We've got to soak it in, and we've kind of got to start looking ahead to next season because the fixtures are out in 6 weeks, which isn't long. Some players will go on holiday. I think the Welsh boys and the international lads will stay around. I think there's World Cup qualifiers in June. And then before you know it, they're back in training in July. Kits are out, pre-season friendlies are released. And August 16th comes around very, very quickly. So, yeah, we're going to enjoy it. We're not going to get too carried over. Probably everyone did. And then attack the Premier League because it's going to be very tough next season. But enjoy the end of this season, and for what it's worth, the celebrations, as Paul, I'm sure, will come in. The parade in Town Centre yesterday were absolutely remarkable.
Yeah, Stats, if we could just get your mic a tiny bit away from your mouth, but somewhere in the middle between where we started and where we ended up there.
So I'm not a pro like you two.
I know you're not. I am going to get a microphone sent over to you. Don't worry, we're working on that.
Thank you.
Paul, how are you doing after yesterday, mate, and after the weekend?
I am exhausted. I am still riding the crest of a wave that I have been doing ever since Stoke. It's been a phenomenal couple of weeks, how we've managed to stretch this out for like 2 weeks and everything, the celebrations and stuff and things like that. But yesterday was just the absolute icing on the cake for me. It was the most important thing about yesterday, if you'll allow me to, just to show you something, is let me just see if I can find it. Where are we? There it is. It's that one. This is the most important thing for me for the actual whole day itself. It was a big day because of obviously the presentation, but more so in fact because my son got involved with it. So for me, that is a memory and a core memory for him that will live on for absolutely forever. It's first time in a big crowd for him, first time with noise and fireworks and everything going off, and he took it like an absolute champ. And it was just the best day ever. He got into the dancing and everything when the music was playing. So to be able to share that with him, that's what this club have given me this season. And it means so much to me I can't even begin to put it into words what it actually means. So for me, that's just the most important thing. That what was an incredible day. The scenes around us. I left Leeds or my house, and there was about 800 million people at the train station waiting to get on. We got onto the train, went to Kirkstall. There was even more people getting on the train coming from Kirkstall. Got into Leeds, and Leeds train station was just rammed. I got into Leeds at about 11. And then we walked out to Centenary Square, met up yesterday with my brother-in-law and my nephew as well. And the numbers of people were absolutely just ridiculous. Saw Just Joe in the train station.
Yeah.
Bombed him, gave him a hug, met Luke, met JT, some other people. Somebody else asked me for a photograph as well, which still boggles my mind, but it's lovely. It's great. Just the entire experience was it felt like 2020 was coming out, but it also felt obviously like 2025 coming out as well. But they said there was 150,000 people there.
Oh, that's good more.
That's absolutely. I would go double and add a little bit more.
I was going to say I've seen estimates of 250,000 minimum, and that looked closer to it.
There was so many people there. It was just, there was families, there was kids, there was old people, there was middle-aged cronies like me that were there just having the absolute time of their lives. It was just, Farke throwing shapes on the bus and all that. And then the joking with doing this while he was dancing as well.
I saw that as well. Yeah, I don't even want that on camera.
Yeah, Largy Ramazani dancing. It was really, really nice to see Strout with both medals on as well. I thought that was a really nice touch because it was just I thought he was paying homage to everybody past at the same time as well, which was good. It was just...
Didn't notice that. That's a great show.
Yeah, it was. Ethan Ampadu was on fire.
We're going to talk about Ethan a little bit tonight. We are going to have a chat about Ethan and some of the stuff he got up to yesterday.
Yeah, it was great. Just when he got outside the Queen's Hotel, he stopped, and the bus, because they said the buses weren't going to stop, didn't they? They said the buses were just going to go round. They didn't. They stopped everywhere, which is why they didn't go round twice, I think. But Ampadu wanted to go round again. He was disappointed that they didn't. But they stopped outside the Queen's, and he got on the mic, and it was just like, let me tell you something. It's not effing loud enough in here. Let me tell you something. Let's get going. And he just started singing and everybody started chanting and it was great. Did you see the video of Largy Ramazani as well? Sorry, I'm probably trampling all over your toes.
It's fine, go for it.
The video of Largy Ramazani where he's asking somebody to throw the flare at him.
Yes.
And he just catches it.
He just catches it from nowhere.
It's the smoothness of it. The yellow one.
Graham Smith.
White, and then he's doing all of this.
Graham Smith said it was like prime Stone Cold Steve Austin catching a can of beer out of you. Amazing hand-eye coordination. Best way to put it. He doesn't even break stride. He's dancing away, points at a guy. Flair comes in. He just catches it and he just keeps... didn't even break stride.
I'll tell you what was noticeable as well. When they were coming up Wellington Street, and obviously there was like the small crowds had started, but as they got coming up Wellington Street and got to where Queen's was, the look of shock on their faces as they came across and they saw all of the people. I don't know what they were expecting, but they were not expecting that. But it was a fantastic day, just absolutely brilliant. I overdosed on pyro and had a banging headache. My son Alfie, I had to tie his scarf up over his nose because he kept pulling up, so he looked like a little miniature hooligan at one point. It was quite funny, shaking and dancing around. But no, it was phenomenal. That just makes everything worth it. It was nice to see a group of young lads that had been so on it for however many weeks, for 46 game weeks, just
letting
go and relaxing and just showing the more human side to them. And, Bogle with his top off in whatever club it was he was in, singing and then going, I effing love this club before wandering off. And just this, there was a bit where, was it somebody was saying about Ampadu shouting at somebody from at Nando's, asking for a particular burger.
Nando's,
he wanted a Nando's burger, and then after he shouted quite aggressively, went please afterwards, and it was Yeah, it was nice to see him because he'd been so professional. We've got one more job to do, and just to see him chill out and just be himself was great. The picture of him outside Rodon's house on in the back garden on the flagstones is funny because at least
hilarious.
Yeah, at least we know he's alive.
I love how Ethan managed to find his way back to Elland Road and ran out on the pitch, lay on the pitch, took a photograph with it, and then went again.
Just incredible, absolutely incredible, unbelievably good. And somebody just pointed out as well that a couple of people got hurt yesterday.
Well, there was 2 people
at the parade. So, thoughts out to them and speedy recoveries. Hope they're doing better than what they have been doing.
The tree was nasty.
Yeah, the tree one was nasty. I think Michael Normanton was literally next to him, which was pretty bad. But there's the guys that were on top of the bus station as well that fell through the plastic slide stuff. I think they were all right, but yeah, you knew it was going to happen, unfortunately. But just thoughts to them. Hopefully they're okay and getting better.
Yeah, I mean, considering the amount of people that were on top of different things, 2 people probably is low, but there were a couple of ambulances floating around as well. So
do we need to mention LUFC Lewis in this one?
Is he okay?
He's absolutely fine, but he was on top of a lot of different things yesterday, shouting and screaming and carrying on.
I look forward to watching Lewis's GoPro footage on his channel soon.
Unbelievable. Unbelievably good.
Well, do we talk about the game? Do we want to talk about the match at all, or we just want to talk about yesterday?
Well, here's Plymouth in a nutshell. Absolutely appallingly bad.
Yeah.
But we got it done. And Solomon proved his worth from he was the best player on the pitch by far. And he helped, for me, if you put it in that little 6-game block of the last 6 matches that we won, he has been the player of those 6 matches. He's
absolutely
not dragged us over the line, but he's been like the big shining light within all of that for me. So game was crap, but we did it in typical Leeds style. I didn't think we were going to do exactly what we'd done 3 previous times, and we turned around and did it. It was incredible, just incredible.
And it's funny, isn't it? 'Cause I remember talking to people after the Luton game, and just after we'd drawn to Swansea, and we didn't play well at Luton, and we drew 1-1, and everyone was saying, "Oh, that's it for the season. We're dropping out. We're dropping out the top 2, and we're going up in the playoffs. And in fact, Frank will be at Wembley in the playoff final, and this, that, and the other." And Daniel Farke, credit him, was on the money. He said we would 100% be in the Premier League. He knew what he was talking about, and lo and behold, we're going the last 6 games just like we did in 2019, 2020, and end up in the Premier League. And the last 6 games have been nothing short of unbelievable. The victory at Middlesbrough, which was nail-biting, the victory over Preston, which wasn't straightforward, victory against Oxford was really nail-biting towards the back end of the season, and then the hammerings of Stoke City, Bristol City, and then Plymouth. We didn't play well. Everyone knew that the result from Turf Moor was Burnley were winning, and it's actually quite funny because had Manor not scored, we were probably 30 seconds away from having a parade without a trophy, which is incredible how quick it can turn around. And because obviously then Burnley going to score the 3rd goal against Millwall and win that game 3-1, and we could all be sat here, and it probably would have felt a little bit flat yesterday had we not gone and won the championship and got 100 points. So it's just been that kamikaze kind of season. I've been positive all season. I said to you, Jay, didn't I? All the way. So I said we'll win the league all the way season. I have been pummeled left, right.
You've never wobbled a little bit, even when I had my little wobble towards the back end. You didn't.
I was confident all season we'd go. I didn't think we'd go and win 100 points. I did have a little bit of stick on social media saying why are you still so confident, because I knew this team, what it meant to this team, what it meant to the manager, what it meant to the players, what it meant to the staff to get over the line. And it was a bit hairy, scary at times, but when this team can play in the championship, they can play in the championship. You look at demolition against Cardiff City, the victory away at Watford, the demolition of Stoke City being 5 up at half time is simply unbelievable. And okay, we won it on goal difference. No matter how you win the league, Man City won the league on goal difference in 2012.
Yeah,
Arsenal won the league in 89 in the probably the most famous ever Michael Thomas moment at Anfield when they needed to win 2-0 to win the league. No matter how you win the league, you win the league. And Leeds are champions. The trophies in the trophy cabinet at Ellen Road. The players, I think I've just about calmed down. The scenes last night were something unbelievable. Jayden Bogle, Junior Firpo, Ethan Ampadu was just hilarious. And to finish the day off, Patrick Bamford doing the guitar in a pub in Leeds City Centre was just unbelievable. And if that is Paddy's last shot in a Leeds shirt, what a way to go out. But yeah, really, really proud of the whole team. Everybody's been absolutely fantastic. The staff has held it together. They've held the nerve together when needed it most. And I think the pivotal moment for me, and I don't like sounding negative, when Carlisle came into the side, and nothing against Ilan Meslier, because he's part of what we've done this season. But I think he was right, Farke, to take Meslier out of the firing line, bring Darlow in for the Luton game, and then he had a record of 6 wins in 7, did Carlisle, and took us over the line. So yeah, we're going to enjoy it. We're going to have fun over the next couple of days, but I think eventually it will start to die down, and then we'll start looking at transfers, and I'm sure there'll be a million and one rumours between now and the transfer window opens in, 2-3 weeks?
1st of June. Yeah,
which is
June
incredible.
So,
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait for what it's going to bring, but we have to stay in the Premier League because what you don't want to do, I know Burnley yo-yo, I don't want to become a bit of a yo-yo side where we'll go up, come down, go up, come down, because if we did go down, it will make it doubly harder to come back up again. So yeah, enjoy the summer, enjoy the transfers, enjoy the fixtures when they come out on June the 18th, which is only 6 weeks on Wednesday. And before you know it, Premier League is here and we're back at Ellen Road. But yeah, really looking forward to it. I think it's a good time to have a break, to recharge, and go again when they come back in pre-season and whatever. But yeah, I can't get a smile off my face. The scenes, yes, I know Paul was in it, was unbelievable. And just seeing the sea of yellow, white, and blue go past on LUTV was something else. And okay, Ethan Ampadu had a few words that he probably regrets this morning, but do you know what? All part of the fun. And I think that was 30 odd years in the making, that parade yesterday. But brilliant. We'll enjoy it and go ahead for next season.
Jim, on the Willie Nanto song, I think you need to look at Mateo's Joseph's reaction behind him when they're lifting the trophy and singing Willie's song. He does a little thing with his finger that might give you an indication that the song might not be as accurate as had previously been made out. But there you go.
I also think that Willie has put that rumour to bed now, that it was something that he didn't like because he was singing it word for word at the end of the Plymouth game.
He's a 21-year-old man now and not a 17-year-old boy.
Yeah, so he was singing it word for word against Plymouth, and he wore a T-shirt yesterday that said the entire wording of the song.
He did.
And he was looking very pleased with himself.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great. It was great. Somebody asked me whether or not I liked Manor Solomon's physique with his shirt off against Plymouth. Yeah, he's ripped. He's ridiculous.
He really is ripped, isn't he?
There's not a percentage of body fat on that man.
I think it's down to a comment that I made at the start of the season where I mentioned about him looking like a little fat baby when he ran around, because he's just got a weird shape to him when he runs.
He's a small square.
Yeah, so I've had a bit of stick for that. So yeah,
but he's in good. Nick. Sorry, Slow Steady Steve. No, I'm fine, mate. In that department, I'm doing okay, mate. I only played ball. Me will vouch for that. I had a nickname, but I'm good. I'm good, mate. Thanks very much. So let's talk about the stuff that we did see yesterday. These are from Largi Ramazani's Instagram account. Which, sweet Jesus, look at that. I mean, that is incredible.
Yep.
And not to leave the man out himself either. There he was, looking like the coolest man on the planet yesterday, and he loving every. I mean, if your first name is Largi, you better be bringing it Largi. And he did.
Very good.
Go for it, didn't he?
Very good. Yeah, just what these players have worked so hard since they came back from pre-season, from the opening game against Portsmouth right through to yesterday, and they deserve all the credit. They deserve to let their hair down, let them party. They've done the job. They've got 100 points, for God's sake, for the first time in the club's history. The 7th club to get 100 points in a second-tier season. The second best goal score difference ever in a League Two season, in the Championship season, just behind Reading. So absolutely fantastic. These players deserve all the credit they get. They'll go down as legends, and let them let their hair down. I'm sure there'll probably a few nursing hangovers this morning, but so what? They've just won the league. They're in the Premier League. Let them enjoy it.
They're off to Vegas in a couple of days, aren't they?
They're off to Vegas, yeah.
Yeah.
Paul, I wanted to ask about a couple of comments. Obviously, Daniel Farke has now been backed by Prague Marathe. Richard Keys came out with a comment today saying that he knows for a fact that Jose Mourinho is approached, but if Richard Keys says something, I'm automatically going to assume the opposite thing has actually happened and not the thing that he has said. Not exactly the most credible of people in the world. But Farke is going to be the manager next season. We know that for a fact now. We're moving forward with Daniel Farke as the manager. Big summer ahead. What were your thoughts on Marathe's comments about him? He said he fell in love with him the day he said that we would be guaranteed that we would be 100% in the Premier League next season, and then he did it, and he said he loves him for that. So very much says he's his man.
Yeah, no, I have no issue with that at all. Listen, we've all questioned, and I think quite rightly, in terms of things that he's done, the way that he's done things. Everybody tried to, I'll use Largy as the example. Everybody tried to say that Largy was really pissed off, that Largy wasn't happy at Leeds anymore because he wasn't getting game time. What I've seen from Largy over the last few games is not a man that is annoyed. He isn't a man that's annoyed. He loves it here. He loves this club.
Lost you, Paul.
I've lost him. Is it me? Is he still there?
Yeah. No, I've lost you, Paul. Volume's gone. It's okay. So that's your thoughts on Farke being kept on.
Yeah, I'm delighted that he's being kept on. I think it'd have been incredibly brutal and harsh had he gone after what the records that he's broken, Ellen Road. And these stories, I don't know where they've come from and what have you. Yeah, I can understand it with his record in the Premier League at Norwich. However, to turn it round, he was never really backed with any money at Norwich City, and he did have some decent results. I think they beat Man City in 21-22 in front of a full house at Carrow Road. But you've got to give the manager an opportunity. Is Paul coming back to us? Are you there, Paul?
Here.
God, I'll let you carry on, buddy.
No, that's fine. So I was just going to. Sorry, I hate Microsoft Office. I think it's one of the best programs in the world. For Farke, he deserves the opportunity. And take your rose tinted glasses off with bits, or not rose tinted glasses, your dark heart glasses off. What he was given in terms of support for Norwich was a pittance. He was told that he wasn't expected to stay up. There was no ambition there. They just wanted to yo-yo. That's all Norwich wanted to do. The saying that he was a failure at Gladbach it's a misnomer. It's absolute rubbish. He wasn't a failure there. He needs to be given the opportunity and the money to see where we go. He's earned that right over 2 seasons. I mean, to give you, hang on, I did write something down.
Prepared.
I know.
As well, getting very fancy, isn't he?
It's just mad. 92 games, 56 wins, 22 draws, 14 defeats, 176 goals scored. That's an overall win percentage of 61% over 2 seasons. For this season, his win percentage is 63% with a goal difference of plus 65. He deserves the opportunity to go up, and he deserves the opportunity to do what he needs to do. Has he been infuriated at times? Yeah, of course he has. Every manager has. Every manager gets that. Yeah. The speculation about Jose Mourinho was bobbins, as far as I'm concerned. I hold it there. Was absolutely bobbins, because that's just he wants to come back to the Premiership, and I feel for Farke, and everybody talked about him being subdued, but given what he's just got us up, and he's had to deal with, he's leaving, he's this, he's that. People have been talking to other people, and the other bits and people are going to come in. And what have we always said about the 49ers? Unless it comes direct from them,
Correct.
And just take everything as a pinch of salt. And you heard the words that Parag used to describe the journalist that came out with that story. No mark journalist was the words that he used to describe the journalist that came out with that story. No mark journalist. That tells you everything that you need to know.
We can safely say that the relationship between the Daily Mail and the 49ers is broken and gone now.
Good.
I would say so, yes.
Good. It's weird because the London media have always had it in for Leeds. Ever since the Revy era, it's always been a bit dirty Leeds, etc. And the job that Daniel has done is nothing short of remarkable. And he deserves a shot at the Premier League. And given the money that he's going to be backed, as I said, Paul's kind of stolen my thunder there with the stats. I was going to use some of the statistics. All right, it's all good. It's all good. He's the first ever manager to win 50 games in the quickest ever time. He did it one quicker than, I think, Simon Grace even did it quicker than Bielsa. So he deserves an opportunity. 95 league goals. He's only second behind season 27-28 and we got 98, which is quite ridiculous, isn't it? To get 95 league goals. And in all honesty, we probably should have had 5 more because our 5 probably were disallowed somewhere along the lines. I know, 2 at Middlesbrough, 1 at Coventry, 1 at Plymouth. There's 4 already. I think 1 at home as well in a home game towards the back end of the season. I can't quite remember against who. So we could have had 100 goals. 95 goals, 100 points, plus 65 goal difference. What more can be said? I know there's 1 or 2 out there, and I have read a couple on social media that think it's a really bad decision. I don't agree with them. And as Paul rightly said there, it was different. Norwich isn't Leeds United. And that's no disrespect to Norwich City. You saw yesterday over nearly 250,000 fans come out and cheer the boys for the parade. This is a special football club. This is a one city football club. Daniel Farke deserves this opportunity. Look, it may not work, but we won't know until he's given an opportunity. He knows the players. And if you bring in another manager now, you're starting the whole thing again. And it takes time to adapt to a new manager. I remember talking to an ex-player in the Chileno era, I'm not going to name, and it was just after when, I think it was when Rossler had been sacked in 15-16 and Steve Evans was coming. I think they're on the 5th manager, some of these players in the space of a year and a half. And they were all confused because one manager comes in and does one way, another manager comes in another way. Daniel Farke knows these players inside out. He's been with them, majority of them, for 2 years. He knows the personas. He knows the personalities. He knows the way they play football. You bring another manager in, you start from scratch. I'm so pleased Prague's come out now in early May. We can start planning for the Premier League and start attacking the Premier League with to be honest with you. So I'm pleased. It's the right decision, and we're going to go and enjoy next season.
Yeah, you've got to be very careful. You can make what seems on the face of things as a fan a very easy decision, replace one manager with another guy, but you could absolutely collapse what's been working behind the scenes there and what he's done. You've heard so many players come out this season and talk about what Daniel Farke has done for them behind the scenes. Dan James specifically is a different player under Daniel Farke than he has been under any other manager that he's had. So you've got to be very careful and get it right. If he doesn't start well, I'm sure the leash should be quite tight. I'm sure they'll look at it if it doesn't start well. But I think if I was in his shoes, I'd be very disappointed if I wasn't given another crack at this after getting promoted and doing the job that you were employed to do on a 4-year contract with a 2-year plan, as they said, day 1 to get back to the Premier League. End of year 2, he's done that, and he's done it in a little bit of style. I haven't always been a lover of Daniel Farke's style of football. I've been very honest on this channel, but I've always said the same thing. You can respect the job that somebody's doing without enjoying the football. The style of play is purely subjective. It is whatever you personally like.
Of course it is.
That doesn't necessarily mean the club is going to do it, play that way. Some people might just get it in the box. You go to a game and you'll hear it 9 times out of 100, 9 times out of 10 around you. You'll hear people shouting, "Get it in the box, get it in the box, get in the box." So it's subjective, but the point was do the job, get the points, done the job, got the points, Leeds our Premier League club next season. Just in the interest of time, I do want to move on a little bit. And I want to talk about the plans that were released tonight. So we've seen this stadium update information that's come out over the last couple of weeks, but the plans are finally official, so you can go and check them out if you would like. So the design proposals for the expansion of the stadium up to 53,000. There is a planning application up to 55,000, which means Leeds can extend again in the future, should they decide they want to, but that's in the future. Enhance and retain the iconic atmosphere. As we've known, that's been one of the main points of Parag's speeches about this and talks that he's given. Bring the North and West stand up to the current stadium standards and improve and provide an engaged overall fan experience. This is what it will look like in the development phases. You might not be able to see it, but the pink area here is overbuilding on the existing structure. So this is the existing stand. There will be a new stand built over the top of that. The new tier will be built around that first, and then they will build the bottom part under second. That's the same for the north stand as well. And then these parts in the corner are being retained. The blue has been retained because obviously that part of the ground has only just got an upgrade because it's got these safe standing areas put in there. So, but there will be an extension to the back of that. And there is the top line view from the stop. So West lower tier has an overlay on top of the existing lower tier terracing to achieve preferred thread depths for sight lines to all seated areas, making sure you can see everything. The lower tier in the north and northeast corner will be retained with the addition of a wheelchair platform at the back of the lower tier, and the west, middle and upper tiers and the north and upper tier are proposed new builds on top of that. And then I suppose in the future you're looking at the south stand and the east stand has been the next two that look to get upgraded in the future. But Stats, your thoughts when you saw these come out tonight?
I think it's brilliant. I think the ground has needed an upgrade, and I'm sure others will. I'm sure Paul and yourself will agree. I've sat in the West Stand for all my life, and I do like it in that stand. I've just kind of come accustomed to that stand. I think to bring the club to the next level, to the next stage of progression, I think the ground needs an upgrade, and it looks absolutely fantastic. I think it's starting in what. Not the end of obviously this season, but the end of the 26-27 campaign,
and the next year,
25-26
and the next season, yeah.
So it'll look absolutely tremendous. I think the plans look so exciting, and yeah, just bring it on. I can't wait to be signed. I know it's going to take a while for it to all complete. I like the way they're trying to keep the fans while the construction work goes on to make sure there's minimal disruption to the supporters in the ground as well. So it's going to look a bit similar to how Liverpool is, that they're going to build above sort of the West Stand and above the Kop. I don't know if they're allowed to build behind the South Stand. Do they need to get planning permission behind the South Stand?
They need to hit the road, you'd imagine.
Yeah, and I don't know what can they do with the East Stand. Is that going to be, if they do anything with the East Stand, I do not know. But the West Stand and the Kop will be looking absolutely phenomenal, and it needs to go up to 53,000, 55,000. And funnily enough, our record attendance was actually in 66, 67 against Sunderland, which was 57,000. So we probably quite won't reach that. But if we're in the Premier League, please God, touch wood, by the time it's ready, it will look simply sensational.
We'll go, before I go to you, Paul, and these writing, some have compared their plans to Liverpool's upgrades. It does look very similar to Anfield because it is being built in a very similar style to Anfield. But I will say one thing. People are talking about the exposed bars on the top of the stand on the outside. That is what makes it look very, very similar to Anfield. But if you look at the East Stand, the exact same thing as the top of the East Stand as well. And that's been built since the 1990s. So they are trying to make it look the same. So it'll have the same kind of aesthetics on the outside, but obviously it'll be different look in front. The corners will tidy it up, and that's again a Liverpool design. But it's either a square or a circle there. Man City have the circular ramps that go up. They put square ones in the corners instead. So, Paul, what do you think?
I love it. I think it's absolutely amazing. We've needed it for a long, long time. We all, remember the days, and it still happens now, being in the Kop end or being in the West Stand and the frozen pee on the toilet seats and stuff and things like that. Just, it's needed an upgrade. It's been there for ages. And what we've needed is we've needed the proper investment for it. Ken Bates, as far as I'm concerned, wasted a lot of money in terms of what he did with the East Stand. I get why he did what he did. However, what I will say, for the South Stand, I know it's an issue at the moment in terms of what they could do or what the availability is. Just take the boxes out of the South Stand, you can add another 3,000 capacity into the South Stand, which is what I think they will eventually end up doing. But just overall, it's 100% needed. I know people they're slightly anxious in terms of how it's going to affect the match day experience because of it being a cauldron at Ellen Road, but I wouldn't be worried about that at all. You shouldn't be worried about it being that way. The 49ers,
no, Anfield is very loud still.
Yeah,
but it's
the 49ers have always said that they've wanted to retain the unique atmosphere that is Ellen Road. And the easiest way to kill that would be to build a new soulless bowl. Everton Stadium looks lovely, but it will be a soulless bowl.
Spurs is the same.
Spurs is exactly the same as well.
Emirates still has no atmosphere. 10 years after it's been built.
Man City,
wasn't the stadium for football. No. Was it an Olympic stadium?
I've been to Man City Stadium to do the match day experience, and that was okay. But it just, it doesn't. It like West Ham's, it's a soulless bowl. We need to retain that. So how we're doing that is by creating an upgrade that still retains the 4 unique stands within the stadium, which is what we all want. That's how we want it to be.
Yeah.
And that will go on. Sorry, Stats, go.
Just to echo what you're saying, I'm pleased they're building on top of it rather than building a new ground. Because you're right. You look at Leicester, you look at Southampton, even City, as you rightly say, to some extent, they feel quite empty. They feel quite soulless. And West Ham isn't even a football ground. West Ham's an athletics track, and you are miles away from the pitch. So this is going to bring it up, and I can't wait. I'm excited to see everything at the moment, and it's just a great time to be a Leeds United supporter.
100%. They're going to be putting. They're going to be putting the plans. Obviously, there's the 2 working men's clubs that the plans are going to for public viewing, but they're also going to the Centenary Pavilion as well. So you will be able to go and view the plans at the Centenary Pavilion if you want to get more au fait with what they're actually doing and what the proposals actually are. Because I know I'm going to go to have a look.
The watermark on the presentation is KSS Design Group Limited, so that might be available on their website as well if you want to go and check that out. I know Joe Blackburn's asking. Quick answer for a couple of questions. Why aren't they moving the pitch further up north? Because they're building these stands around the existing stadium, so they can't move the pitch. If they were knocking everything down like Spurs did, they could push the pitch further up and they could then build a stadium, but they're not. They're building around the existing one, which is part of the reason why it will keep that compact, tight atmosphere that they're looking for as well. Karen is saying the fan zones look like arena concourses. That's the modern stand. I've been in a lot of US American stadiums, and I tell you something, getting a pint is easy in those concourses. I went to Seattle Sounders ground last year, which is obviously where the Seahawks play in Seattle as well. And when you go in, there's you've got your big concourse area, and instead of a bar, you've got a little alcove, and there's 2 sets of gates either side of it. You walk in one gate, you tap your bank card, you pick up 2 beers out of the fridge, and you walk out the other gate. That's it. There's a 2 beer max, and there's a guard watching you to make sure you only take 2. Take 2, you walk out, and you're back in your seat. There's two cup holders in your seat for your 2 beers, and then you chill out. And you half time, you go same thing, walk in and around. See, it's so easy and so well done. So these concourses and a lot of the extras, I think that the Lewy group will probably be looking after of the restaurants and bars and everything else that comes into this. A lot of that will probably be designed around match day experiences that you get in the US, because tailgate parties and everything else in the US, they keep fans in their stadiums much longer than we do. And that's the goal with this. The longer you're there, the more money you'll spend. The more money you spend, the more the club will make money. So that's the point of that. Lastly, before we wrap up, because I do want to get to this, the teams of the year have all been announced. We're wrapping up the season. So, but they're very different. So we've got SofaScore, FOTMob, and the EFL. The EFL have gone with a 3-team limit, apparently, or something like that, but they've only gone for 3 Leeds players: Bogle, Tanaka, and James. Paul, your thoughts on that particular lineup? Josh Sargent, for example. No Brownhill either.
Yeah, next question.
Yeah, that's the same as, Let's go on to the next one.
I understand the 3-person limit. I get it, but just Jesus Christ.
I know, no such limit in the next couple. So, SofaScore have gone with this team. Brownhill is in this team. Leeds players Piru, Solomon, Stroke, and Firpo make it. Michael Cooper gets the goalkeeping position. That tells you how their algorithm is weighted toward actual saves rather than clean sheets. No Dan James in this one, and Connor Roberts at right back. And then on FOTMobs, it's Ampadu, Firpo, and Solomon and Tanaka that make that team. But again, no Joe Piru, no Brownhill in that. Oh, he's in the 10 there. But yeah, lots of ex-Leeds players floating around there as well.
Rodon not being included in some of those is, for me, is an absolute travesty. Listen, look, I understand Egan, Riley, and Estevez being probably 2 of the best centre-backs in the league. I get that, but just it's hard because you try and do it on a not being biased basis. Hamer being in there is, for me, is the biggest weird one that I can even begin to understand, because it just doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make sense to me, that at all. But again, you know, it's down to opinions and different thoughts and stuff. But Sainz, yeah, maybe fell off towards the end of the season. Sargent,
no.
I think they're basing that off of the fact of the games that he's played, potentially.
15 goals in 31 games, but he didn't score against the top 5, and he went 403 minutes towards the back end of the season without scoring a goal for Norwich, which would have got them into the championship if they won 2 of those games. Playoffs.
Yeah. That's the only way that I can see making that work. But the other one is just nepotism in action, which is Bellingham for me.
Oh, well, I do like Joe Bellingham, but I don't think he was one of the best midfielders in the division this year.
Nope.
I think if you're going with 2 central players there, Josh Brownhill has to be in that team, and I think also Tanaka needs to be in that team as well. That's true too.
Without question.
Trafford
Bellingham
goes in goal. I can take the argument about Egan Riley and Esteve at centre back as well. No problem with that. I can take that. Number 9 for me, Maja. Come on, really, Maja or Sargent versus the top. Not only was Joe Pearl the top goal scorer in the league, the most goals and assists as well, and his averages are higher per game, and he scored against the top 6 sides.
I put a stat out today. Joe Pearl is only the 5th Leeds player to ever win the Golden Boot, after John Charles, Jim Floyd Hasselbank, Ross McCormack, and Chris Wood. And he's also the first ever Leeds player to win the Golden Boot and the Championship title in the same season. And he still can't get in all the Team of the Years. Barmy.
That's mad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts.
Right. I did have this up just to throw in at the very end. I just liked the similarities between this and so I'm better share first. There we go. I really liked the similarities of the promotion winning managers, or the title winning managers, with the beautiful EFL trophy, and then the 4 teams in the moments where they collected their trophy as well, which is nice to look at them all together.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely. Yes. The whole history of the club has been rewritten again, and Bielsa was phenomenal, and Farke has taken it to another level. And I'm not going into the comparisons because it was 2 different scenarios, 2 different teams and what have you. And now the challenge that presents itself is to go and stay in the Premier League, which I'm sure we'll talk about in great depth over the summer.
Yeah.
Well, just to address this, 356 watching, only 3 likes. That's the what?
Jeez, come on, press that like button.
Stick us a like on, nice one. Thanks.
Like button, come on.
Brilliant, Paul. Brilliant.
That will definitely get us more viewers, especially on the audio. Paul, you were going to say something there a second ago before I cut you off. Hope you're all right.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine. Just that comparison between that everybody wants to make between, Bielsa and Farke. Bielsa was an alchemist. This is how I've heard it described. I can't remember who said it. I think it was Dan off of the Square Ball, and it's brilliant. Bielsa was an alchemist with, in inverted commas, average players. Farke has been given a good team, but what he's had to do in terms of rebuilding the squad twice, dealing with all of the egos and everything that goes with it as well, and the way that he's done it and what he's managed to do over 2 seasons is a completely different version of a Leeds United team. You can't really compare the 2. They're totally different and totally fantastic in their own rights. Absolutely fantastic in their own rights.
I've said that you can't compare what Bielsa did with what Farke did. You just can't. Bielsa took a mid-table side that was valued at £15 million and got into the Premier League and got the mid-table in the Premier League in his first season. Farke had a much better squad with a much higher wage bill that was valued at £85 million. But in saying that, the context of the seasons are very different from both of them as well. We've now seen it 2 years in a row. 90 points will not get you promoted to the Premier League automatically anymore. So you've got to make sure you can compete with the 3 teams coming down. So Leeds have to spend more money, you need bigger wages to do that, need bigger squads, all that stuff. So none of those 4 are comparable in any way, but it's nice to see all 4 of them in their own unique ways having that moment with that trophy. And I suppose at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how you get the job done as long as you get the job done, and they've all got the job done in their own unique ways.
Absolutely. And you can't make comparisons because it's different time frames, different opportunities, different ways that Bielsa bought that squad, as you rightly say, a squad that finished 13th in 17-18, just from starting the playoffs 18-19, won the league in 19-20. Farke's had to rebuild 2 squads, basically, having lost Rutter and Gray and Somerville last summer, and rebuilt the squad, rebuilt the morale. And I remember people saying to me after the West Brom game back in August, when it finished 0-0, we had 2 points from 2 games. That's it. Season's done. We're never going to go up. Terrible point. And I came on and said, that's a really good point considering the situation that Jorginho had just gone to Brighton and what have you. And he played for a point, and you could see that. He's done 190 points in 2 seasons he's balmy. And you can't compare them. It's different scenarios, different situations, and they're both managers deserve all the credit in the world.
Yeah, we will, Daniel. We will look at what we're looking at spending in the summer. We'll do that probably next week when we start to get into looking ahead. We're kind of just hanging on to this for a little bit longer before we get into what will be a relegation struggle next season. I don't want to just jump the gun on that one just too early, but we will 100% get on that. We basically worked it out. If you work at PSR, it's profit and sustainability rules, so it's pure revenue. So commercial deals, new kit deals, they got an extension with Adidas as well, so that could be worth more money as well. More investment from investors as well as ticket sales, kit sales, all that kind of stuff goes into the revenue pool. But Leeds will have about 125 million more next season than this year if they can sell the likes of Harrison, possibly looking at Melier, Vober and Bamford potentially maybe going as well in the summer. If you can bring in 50 million of that plus the 150 million you're likely to make from TV money in the Premier League, that's 200 million quid you can spend. So, which would probably be the magic number, because 100 million this year kind of showed that it probably wasn't enough. But we've seen this year from this Leeds recruitment team, and Adam Underwood's a big part of that, is that they haven't wasted money or spent money excessively. You look at the agent fees in the last couple of years under the Victor Orta transfer regime, and it's scary the amount of money that Leeds wasted on subpar players and agent fees as well. You won't see that happening with this club. And it's about getting the right players in, not necessarily spending the most amount of money. You'll hear it all summer. People make a joke out of this. They'll do it on the cheap. You'll hear all the jokes and gags about that. They were accused this year of doing it on the cheap as well, and they've actually managed to go better than what they did last season. So trust the process, give them the chance to do it, get the right people in. I wouldn't even look at the fees that are attached to them. You would be a smart owner to bring a couple of Premier League players in on a free transfer to add that experience, and then go and spend the money on the key players that you need. But that's just my take on it. But we'll get into all of that in the next coming weeks.
We're in the elite level now again with Adidas, aren't we? Because we're going up.
So thank you. Yeah, you've reminded me, because somebody did put this up. There we go. LUFC Lofts. Mate's daughter has done the shirt shoot with the players. Home shirt still has red on the Red Bull, which we expected that. Away is a blue and yellow Red Bull. And third is an icon shirt, which is the Adidas Flory badge. I can't remember that word. But anyway, they've got that badge on it. So the home kit apparently is all white with elements of the Lowfields tunnel. The second kit is blue and white. With yellow, obviously, on the sponsor, but predominantly blue and white. And the third kit is to be a black kit in some faction. Although someone told me that they'd seen a version of it, and it looks like a very, very dark navy, more so than a black. But we'll see them coming out over the next couple of weeks. There's a couple of chats just to wrap up real quickly. I'd love to know the numbers for yesterday. They reckoned about 250,000, possibly more. Karen, big shout out to your husband on his birthday. Happy birthday. You should have stuck his name in, but happy birthday to Karen's husband. Did anyone know if Ampadu got his Nando's from Jim? I don't know.
Probably, if he actually probably not. It's probably a bit too how many sheets to the wind, shall we say?
He got it this afternoon when he woke up.
Did anybody see the video of him? I don't know where he was. It was somewhere on Greek Street, and he was just sat outside by himself before he climbed over some fence. But he looked like just sat looking down at the floor, clearly coming to the end of his night, and just the look on his face was like, "What have I done?" And then got up and over before jumping over a fence, which was quite funny.
We've all been there at that point at the end of the night. We're like, oh God, what have I done?
Yeah.
Oh God. Shane saying, anyone else here think that the final whistle, Farke sitting alone, he knew something that we didn't, thought he was gone by body language? No, because he did the same at Norwich. Yeah. Lets the players do their thing and then he gets involved. I think there was just a moment of just exhaustion of letting it all sink in and sitting back and giving you. The older you get, you do that as well. Like when I was younger, I was running onto the pitch and getting in the middle of stuff. Now I kind of tend to just stand back and watch everything happening and soak it all up and try and live in that moment for a minute. Wasn't it great yesterday? Only sport that really brings the entire city together. Can we now finally act like a big club? That'll become in the summer. We already got to that one. Lee looks like Leeds didn't miss Somerville. Yeah, there was a strange comment made by Tony DeRigo on commentary at the weekend about Crease Somerville. He basically said Daniel Farke had less egos to deal with in the dressing room this season. Not that was a slant against Crease Somerville, but it was the fact, was still the fact, and we'd heard things there. So apparently, yeah, it seemed to be more than a few people aware of that.
Yeah, I would have always said, I mean, listen, Somerville did phenomenally good last season. He was,
of course he did.
He was very much an individualistic player.
Yeah.
On that basis, just from what you could see and what you could see online and what he would put out online, that's how he comes across. So, yeah, I understand what DeRigo's saying.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be a but then.
No, it is what it is, isn't it? It's like that's the way everyone is saying it now. So that's the way it is. And then finally, just to wrap this up, how did I like Seattle? I love Seattle. I've been there a couple of times. I'm hoping to go there again a few more times. But yeah, absolutely, I do love the city. It's a lovely city, really nice place, very progressive city. But yeah, we'll get to all the preseason stuff in the next couple of days and weeks. We'll talk about that. Hoping to get something special out by the weekend. I'm working on something with a man that I need to speak to today, and if I can get that, I'll have something out by the weekend, if not next week. I'm being cryptic. Is the same trophy in all the? Sorry, is the same trophy in all the pictures? I would imagine it has changed over the years, but is it the exact replica?
It's exactly the. So there's been little bits that have changed because that was first given to Leeds. I don't think there's a picture in 63 for. I think it was the old one in 63 for, and 68, 69, and 73 for. It was exactly the same trophy. It's 91 2, and then in 2019, 2020, and 24, 25. So yeah, wonderful to see a collage of all of them.
Oh, I loved it
together, and I think that's fantastic. And bring on the summer, bring on the Premier League, and I just hope in a year's time we're not all sat around the table discussing how we're going to get back into the Premier League.
No, we're not doing that. It might be a tough year, but we're not doing that. What badge are we having on the shirt this year? Well, one of the shirts can have a retro badge, but it can only be one. And the club have to own that badge. So there could be something. Maybe they'll stick with what they've stuck with this year, but you never know. Unless the smiley only becomes a yellow shirt thing, which would be interesting as well. Lots to talk about. Paul, what's going on your channel this week before I wrap up?
I've put out a video from the parade yesterday, just me talking about it, and I've got loads of pictures and stuff from the parade itself, and just whack them on while I'm waxing lyrical about everything. I've got some reviews coming up of the year. I'm going to talk about some players. I might try and see if I can get a couple of people to collab with on that, just to make it more of a conversation rather than me talking. But just recuperating, mate, in all honesty. I'm shattered. It's been a bonkers 2 weeks. And, it's been a phenomenally good 2 weeks as well. It's just been, we all know that everything isn't all right with the world at the moment, but just in the nice little world of Leeds United bubble, it's really, really good at the moment. And we want it all to continue.
Yeah. So that's what you're getting up to this weekend.
I think I've got a bit of a tough week because obviously my dad passed away end of November, and it would have been his birthday on Thursday. So my family going out just to sort of raise a glass to him for a nice meal and then just relax. And then I've got some projects coming up, all being well, with the club, where I'm going to be working on some heritage numbers for every single player that's played for the club. I'm going to put some stats together. I think we've had 885 players that have played for the club since Jim Baker first led the club out back in season 1920-21. So if we do sign 15 players over the summer, or 14 players, because Harry goes 886, we'll reach the magic 900. So I'm going to be working on that as well, and some projects, hoping to look at doing a new book called The History of the Leeds United Programme, of how it's developed since the 1930s to the present day. So I'm just waiting on a call back from a publisher to look at that in the summer to start penning that one, which built 5. So plenty going on, plenty to keep us busy, but I think it's time to refresh the patches a little bit. I think we're all knackered. I think we're all absolutely chattered. Yeah.
Well, you guys can have a break. I won't have a break because I stupidly set up a daily Leeds news channel, so I've got to crack on doing that.
You know where if you need us, Jay.
What I will say, I will just take a moment just to say massive thanks to Stats for all of the work he's done in the last 2 years on the channel, more so this year than any year, because you've been here pretty much since the start of the season. So really appreciate that. And Paul, who is an ever-present guest on the channel, has his own channel doing its own great things at the Leeds Therapy. But he's been a regular on here, and he's very rarely ever said no to coming on to this without a very good reason for it. So I really appreciate both of you for taking time out of your schedules and out of your lives to come and chat with me about Leeds United. So I've loved doing it this year. It's been a pleasure talking to both of you all season. So yeah, great to have you. And thanks for that.
Same to you, mate. Same to you.
Great, folks. Thanks for watching as well. Really appreciate every single one of you as well. If you can stick a like on the way out the door, that would be amazing. And I'll be back tomorrow morning with your Leeds news. I will talk to you then. See ya.